This is Cryptids Comedians, a show where two stand-up comics talk about mythical creatures, legendary monsters, and fabled beasts the same way we talk about the comedy club where no one bombs and all your jokes are funny all the time. We want to believe it's true. We want to see it for ourselves, but I don't think that place exists, Peter. I'm Thom Tran with my co-host Peter Murphy.
Hey, how's it going? It's Peter here. That sounds like heaven, Tom. That sounds like comedy heaven.
What would you say heaven is? Describe heaven.
Heaven to me is a lazy river inner tube ride with margaritas, floating down from the sky.
Okay. I read a Calvin and Hobbes cartoon many years ago, which didn't trouble me until later in my life when Hobbes was one of them. Hobbes was describing what he thought heaven was.
Yeah.
And he said it was an all-girl saxophone cabaret in New Orleans. And as a child, I did not know what that meant.
I'm still not sure what it means.
Yeah. And then as an adult, I'm like, that was very mature for a child and his make-believe cat or tiger.
Yeah, right on the edge for a newspaper.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So Peter and I are both stand-up comedians. We live here in Los Angeles. We perform all over the world, which gives us the opportunity to fuel our obsession, discover cryptids from all over. And every week, we talk about different cryptids or legendary creatures. I tell Peter about the history, lore, cultural significance, pop culture references, and show him evidence, if there is any. And then he tells me why I'm wrong. So as always, the idea of the show was to talk about cryptids, but very early on, we started releasing episodes during spooky season, so we decided to widen the topics to include things like ghosts and demons and mythological creatures, and the subject of this week's episode, but we're keeping the name, Cryptids and Comedians, because I bought the website URL already. So, and before we get to this week's episode, Peter, as always, can you tell people who are here for the first time or who just don't know, what is a cryptid?
Oh, a cryptid is, it's like, it's kind of like back in the day, it used to be called like a top, but now it's like a more aggressive, spinny.
I don't like where this is going. Okay, you said top and then aggressive, and I'm like, ooh, this is kind of a family show.
But now, right, depends on where you are geographically, but it used to be called a top, and now it's like a more aggressive, spinny, battle-ready toy that you spin in a coliseum setup, and then whomever knocks their other toy, the other cryptid out of the ring, or it stops spinning, they lose, and it gets pretty competitive in places like Serbia and also regions east of Canada. And just north of Argentina.
Regions east of Canada would be the Atlantic Ocean.
You'd be surprised.
But also, I think you described pogs and dreidels at the same time.
Yeah, you could call them that too.
Okay. No. That is not what cryptids is.
It's not a cryptid. Okay,
No.
that's not.
Cryptids are any creatures or animals rumored to exist, but there's never been any scientific or hard evidence or proof of their existence.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense based on what you just said in the intro.
Yes. And with Halloween just a couple of days after this episode drops, we are wrapping up spooky season with a topic that many, many people identified with the season and the holiday. Once again, we're adding myths and creatures and legends related to Halloween this show. So not necessarily a cryptid, but it kind of falls into that realm of stuff. So we are going to finish up the spooky season talking about witches.
Ooh.
Or at least the Western interpretation of witches. Peter, what do you know about witches?
What do I know about witches? Everything I know about witches I learned from Hocus Pocus.
Okay. Good reference.
With Sarah Jessica Parker and the nun from Sister Act, right?
Whoopi Goldberg?
No, the other nun, the funny nun.
Whoopi Goldberg?
Whoopi Goldberg is the funny nun. I know, this is what I know about witches. I would know that witches, for one, they cast spells, they're really knowledgeable, they read a lot, they have, maybe like a bag of crystals on them at all times. nothing you wouldn't, run into in any dive bar in East Hollywood.
I think you just also described a drug dealer.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Also. Well, witches appear in cultures all over the world, but their forms differ from healers and wise women in European folklore to shamans and sorcerers in African and indigenous traditions to spirit workers in Asian mythology. But in Western mythology, which is what we are going to talk about, the most enduring and recognizable image of a witch is the figure that you see here if you're watching on YouTube. Ooh. It's a woman in a pointed black hat riding a broomstick with a black cat at her side. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. We're going to start with the history, lore, and cultural significance of witches. So early origins of the witch beliefs go back to a concept of witchcraft as an ancient concept appearing in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greek traditions. The term witch, in the Western sense, comes from the Old English wick or wicca, so wick being female, and wicca being male, meaning one who practices sorcery or magic. In early societies, individuals believed to control unforeseen forces often used dual roles as healers and midwives. With the spread of Christianity, traditional folk practices often came under suspicion. So by the medieval period, witches were increasingly depicted as servants of the devil, accused as causing illnesses, poor harvests, and misfortune. The witch hunts of the 15th through the 17th century, fueled by works of literature, codified many of the traits still associated with witches in popular imagination. So witches were thought to be, people with extraordinary abilities like healers. And because Christian society being, not a fan of that, I say that as a former Catholic, they would enforce their beliefs on witches.
Is the term witch then a non-gender specific term? Are there male witches or are those warlocks? Is what
I believe witch can be used to describe both men and women, but if you want to be specific, like warlocks could be described as the male version of witches. So we always see these scenes of witches with black hats. So what's with the black hats? The pointed black hat is relatively new to the witch iconography. In medieval and Renaissance Europe, tall pointed hats were sometimes associated with outsiders, including marginalized groups like Jews, foreigners, and women considered non-conforming. And then over time, this headwear became like a visual shorthand for otherness or suspicion. So basically, people who they just didn't know and they were suspicious of, the black hat became synonymous with those people.
So the witches are like, hey, you should be suspicious of us. We're going to wear these black hats. Yeah. Because the black hat's a choice.
Yeah. Black hat is a choice. It is definitely a choice.
Yeah. And a big black pointy hat, that's a choice. Like, it's a triangle, but you're one shape away from Abraham Lincoln. If it's not, it's a cylinder. Abraham Lincoln had the top hat.
This is true. You know how hard it was to find images of women with witches with black hats that weren't just like sexy, slutty costumes? It was very difficult. It was surprisingly difficult to find. Like if you type in witch black hat, you would think the first thing you would see was like an old, decrepit, green-skinned woman.
Gosh. Yeah, the internet was made for rich people and attractive women. Is what I've been heard. Is what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go to like the 5th or 6th Google image page to see anything that might come out of a textbook.
So by the 18th and 19th century, illustrators cemented the image of a witch with a tall black hat, conical in shape, partly through Halloween imagery and partly through satirical depictions in popular prints. So have you ever wondered about the broomsticks? What's up with the broomsticks?
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, they're witches, so they could make anything their ride of choice, I guess, right? Like, can't they just like cast a spell? I assume they could cast a spell on anything, and then now I can ride this. Like, a stool or a guitar, or I don't know, just hop on anything, anything like that, right? Where does the broom come from?
Well, the broomstick or the besom became one of the most enduring symbols of witches. It was associated with domestic life because brooms were tied to women's household roles. So the idea of turning this tool into a magical device symbolized subversion of the ordinary. So basically just, the expectation of women being homemakers, the broom being the instrument of keeping the home clean, and then the idea of, you're already demonizing these people who are a little different from you. Let's take this image of, a tool that's supposed to be for house making, house cleaning, and turning it to a symbol of witches.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is something that you're sticking us with. They're like, oh, we're gonna use this.
Yeah. Historical confessions often extracted under torture during witch trials included accounts of witches smearing hallucinogenic flying ointments on themselves and sometimes on broomsticks. The broom coated with these ointments became linked to the idea of witches flying to Sabbaths or nocturnal gatherings with other witches or sometimes the devil. Again, I looked up, I Googled witch gathering.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Just hot women in black. That not necessarily witches.
The term witch is really expanded lately. I feel like, I don't know if you really need to do any magic. You just have to be wearing black and, have access to a broom and a pointy hat.
Are those witches or are those goth girls?
Ooh. What's the difference between witches and goth girls? Witches are what you're describing. Goth girls worship witches. I think goth is witch groupies. Goths are witch groupies.
Okay.
I think that, and like they're just like, they are just fans. It's like, okay, you love football. Great. Witches are the football players. Goths are the people that go to the game, sit in the stands.
Okay. All right. Because of the iconography of witches and brooms, the broom combined with themes of domesticity, female empowerment, and transgression, all of which contributed to the persistence in witch lore. Now, what else do you typically, when you think of a witch, what are the things you associate with witches?
Witches, they've got the pointy hat, they've got your broom. They've got like a long nose.
Okay.
For some reason. Probably better for smelling all their potions. They have like a greenish, palish skin, and they have a black cat.
Boom. Black cat.
Oh, what a slutty cat.
That is the cutest cat.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't find any pictures of any wholesome cats. You had to find a slutty little cat right here. Yeah.
For those who are listening on the podcast, not a slutty cat at all. The most adorable little kitten.
Slutty little kitten in a big pot, ready to make some pasta.
So what's the deal with black cats? Do you have any idea what the deal is with black cats?
Black cats. Wow. Yeah. Why? Because, well, you know what? I think because oftentimes if you're a jittery fellow like me, you have a couple cups of coffee, you start to see things, you start to see shadows. And I think if it's dark enough or in the right lighting, is that a cat? Is it a shadow? Is it a cat shadow? And it's kind of like a Peter Pan situation where, the shadow's getting away from you.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
How about that?
Okay. Well, cats have been long associated with mystery and independence because I as a cat dad myself of 4 cats, they're kind of assholes. They kind of do whatever most of the time. In ancient Egypt, they were revered. In medieval Europe, they were increasingly feared. Black cats in particular were linked to misfortune because of their nocturnal nature in association with the color black, a symbol for the unknown. And what is more scary than the unknown?
The ocean.
But the ocean is inherently unknown as well. More people have been to space than have been to the bottom of the ocean.
That reminds me, I found a Groupon to go down to the Titanic, the shipwreck. They're gonna go this year. If you want to go,
you're gonna take a. Okay.
It's like it's not like a ship or a submarine. It's like it's called like a submersible.
Submersible?
Yeah.
You didn't watch the documentary about the submersible that exploded? The carbon fiber. submersible that exploded, the Titan.
No.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's a Groupon, and it's like this really. It's like a really thin metal, and we're all gonna go down.
Yeah.
There, and it's controlled, but it's kind of cool because it's controlled by like what looks like a video game controller.
Right. Yeah.
And so,
That's
yeah,
what
it seems like a great deal.
exploded going down to the Titanic. Yeah. There's some things I don't trust Groupons for. Laser eye surgery. For one.
No.
Don't trust laser eye surgery Groupons. Maybe I'll trust like cold sculpting body fat removal procedures, maybe only because I can cover that with a shirt. But also deep sea submersible explorations to the Titanic.
Yeah.
I don't trust a Groupon for that.
See,
I don't know.
See, when you say it out, when you say it out loud,
Right.
It sounds bad. I think the only thing to trust Groupons for are back massages. Is there anything else that a Groupon, like what else? What? Like maybe not skydiving, but yes, skydiving. What's the thing where you get in the harness? You have a helmet.
Bungee jumping?
No.
Zip lining.
Zip line, yeah. Zip line Groupon, that'd be fun.
I'm going to also throw out zip lining.
What?
Zip lining, bungee jumping,
Yeah.
skydiving, laser eye surgery. I am not trusting a Groupon.
Dude, okay, you just named everything I would do if I had 24 hours to live.
Yeah. If you had 24 hours to live, you're going to do those things?
Every one of them.
Don't use a Groupon. You're going to die.
How am I going to afford them?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess so.
If you had 24 hours to live, what are they going to do? Come after your non-existent kids?
I guess so, yeah. Who knows? Yeah, they'll seize my possessions.
All right. I don't know how we got into this conversation on Groupons, but cats?
Yeah, cats. Would you buy a cat off Groupon?
No, I'm an adopting cats kind of person. So, but folklore across Europe suggested that witches kept familiars, animal companions believed to be demonic spirits, aiding in their magical work. The black cat became famous and iconic as one of their familiars, and by the early period, images of witches almost always included a black cat by their side, reinforcing the link between witchcraft and animal magic. So, do you know of any famous black cats?
Famous black cats. Ooh, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Boom, that's the one. That's kind of the only one I could think of.
Yeah. Also, wasn't there something like that in Hocus Pocus? A black cat? Like, doesn't he talk? Does he talk too? Or is that just Sabrina?
Never seen Hocus Pocus.
Really?
Never seen it.
Never seen Hocus Pocus.
No. I think it was a time in my, it was during a time in my life where I was like, I got stuff to do. There's governments that need to be toppled, that kind of thing.
Right. It's still out. And they even made a second one. It's like,
I did hear they made a second one.
It's in the Sarah Jessica Parker Hall of Fame. I got to tell you.
I mean, it is culturally one of those films, and we will actually talk about that in just a little bit because we are still talking about witches. The Western portrayal of witches also emphasizes their participation in secret nocturnal gatherings, often called Sabbaths. And this is, once again, I try to find, a photo of witches gathering, and it brought up like just these. When you see this photo, what do you see? Do you see witches gathering, or do you see?
I see
six women who are tired of men.
Yeah.
Tired of men and tired of our shit.
I see a bachelorette party. That's what a bachelorette party. That's what I think is happening at a bachelorette party, in my opinion. Yeah. And they're having fun. You're allowed to have fun in your own way, but no cats there.
Yeah.
So that makes me think they're more goth. And look at those pilgrims. And my thing, were the pilgrims witches too?
No, pilgrims were notorious for burning witches, which is something we will talk about in a few episodes.
See, if you got a hat, if you're wearing a hat, they're wearing a hat, you're at odds with each other. You can't be a group wearing hats or hoods and then like another hat group as well. Let me ask you this about the cats.
Okay.
If you had a magical cat, what would their life be like? How would they I guess serve you?
If I had a magical cat,
Yeah. Like a magical cat. Like it's you're a witch, you put a
how would the cat serve me? I have non-magical cats that I serve.
Yeah,
now.
I know exactly.
Like I am their slave. So I can't imagine having a magical cat with powers. How would the cat serve me? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, I guess that would be like the worst case scenario because, cats inherently don't like to listen, I don't think. So, if your cat was magical, it would kind of have a mind of its own, and that would be a bigger mess then.
Listen, as a cat dad, cats have a mind of their own regardless. They don't have to have magic. They just do whatever they want anyway. We service them. We clean their poop. We feed them. We spend reckless amounts of money on toys just for them to jump around in the Amazon box that the toy got delivered in. So I don't think cats need magic powers.
It's for the box. Yeah, the toys are really just the box. And maybe cats just love haunted houses.
You think cats love haunted houses?
I think, dude, get this. Okay, business time. Ding ding. We do haunted houses for cats. People bring their cats, let their cats run around, go nuts in a haunted house made out of cardboard boxes.
Interesting idea. We could just...
What do you think, Sharks?
Okay, I think we got to pitch this.
That's it. I mean, yeah, right? Because, okay, magical cat, they're not doing anything for you. But as far as, if you have a cat companion that you... what do you... what do you bring them to? What do you do with them other than put them in that little backpack with the bubble so they could see out of the back?
What did Sabrina do with her with her cat? Didn't the cat have magical transporting powers or something?
Ooh, her cat was pretty snarky and entertained himself and others pretty easily. So that's kind of a superpower in my opinion.
All right. So back to the Sabbaths, as they're called, the witch gatherings. They were believed to be nights where the witches met with the devil, performed rituals, and cast spells. The imagery of women flying to these gatherings on broomsticks, usually accompanied by their animal familiars, reinforced the archetype of witches as both threatening and supernatural. Do you find these witches threatening or supernatural? These witches at a bachelorette party? Seemingly?
Yeah, these witches that we're looking at on the screen here, they seem threatening to me in a very passive aggressive type of a way, where they might say something mean about my outfit or comment on how they don't like my shoes or something about my ability to retain a job. That's what I think.
I don't think those are witches so much as they are the other word that rhymes with witches. I don't know why I just censored myself saying bitches. I said asshole 10 minutes ago.
I only say the word bitch when I'm referring to a guy. Don't be such a bitch. No, but guys can be bitches. I have a friend who's he's a huge bitch.
Okay.
He's just a bitch. He was you know what he said to me once? He goes, This is a great bitchy thing from him. He goes, oh yeah, well, is your therapist a man or a woman? And I go, it's a guy. And he goes, yeah, good. You should have a man therapist. And I'm like, that is the bitchiest thing to say and to bring up out of nothing.
Yeah.
So I reserve the word bitch for my guy friends that are acting as bitches.
All right. The Western witch image represents a convergence of many fears of women having power, fear of the unknown, fear of death, and misfortune. The archetype also symbolizes the inversion of societal norms. So domestic tools like brooms being turned into magical weapons, common animals being turned into spiritual allies, and women outside of traditional roles transformed into figures of fear. And over time, while real witch hunts led to persecution and death, and the imagery itself became standardized into folklore and artistic motifs.
Does that mean who was pushing the idea of witches? Was it women who were like, hey, you should be afraid of us, we are witches? Or was it other people that were not these women that were trying to find a way to prosecute them or, exile them?
I think it was more of the latter. It was more of people who feared witches or not even feared witches, but just they had an axe to grind with someone.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, that person's a witch. And, the 16th and 17th century being what they were, there wasn't a lot of scientific rationale, and people just go, "Oh, that person's a witch."
And then, but and then if the hat fits, wear it. They just decided to start dressing like witches, or was that do we think that was the style at the time to wear a big pointy hat, all black, and have a broom at your hand, all the time?
Well, I think like we talked about earlier, it was taking those symbols and manipulating them and turning them like
to give them additional context.
Right.
Oh, interesting. So that was kind of the style at the time. To dress in like a pointy hat, all black.
I mean, if you looked at like pilgrims, they all had pointy hats.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So
I'm suspicious of pilgrims. Anytime I run into a pilgrim these days.
How often do you run into a pilgrim?
You know what? Honestly, not a lot anymore. And it's sad what this administration's been doing. But anytime I run into a pilgrim, I'm like,
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. Dang it. What is Biden's plan on these pilgrims? I don't trust. I don't know if I should trust pilgrims or not.
All right. Let's talk about witches in pop culture. The witches in Shakespeare's Macbeth, written in 1606, were among some of the earliest and most influential portrayals in English literature.
Double bubble boil in trouble.
There you go. Shaping the association between witches, prophecy, and chaos. The Grimm's brothers, or the Brothers Grimm, I should say, and other folklorists recorded European fairy tales featuring women and witches such as Hansel and Gretel, who, the old lady that lived in like a candy house in the woods.
Yeah.
She looked like a witch, and she tried to eat Hansel and Gretel. Further embedding the image of the witch as an old woman with dark powers. Modern literature continues to adapt the witch, from L. Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which is, of course, where we get this very popular image of what a witch is.
That's got to be the most popular witch. Huh?
You think so? You think that's like one of the most popular witches? Or would you say it's these ladies? Would you say
Who are they?
Those are the Charmed sisters. Charmed, the show from the CW or the WB or whatever it was that was on forever and a day. My buddy Brian was on that show. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that this image of the witch with the green face, long nose, the wicked witch of the West, the pointy hat, that's probably like one of the archetypal images of witches, would you say? There's also, of course, Samantha from Bewitched.
Mm-hmm. Such a Samantha.
Not that Samantha, but okay. You also have contemporary fantasies like J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, where you have images of witches, but not necessarily like the ones we just showed you. Mm-hmm. Early film and cinema used witches as figures of fear and fantasy, like the silent film Haxan in 1922, blending documentary and horror about witchcraft and history. Of course, the 1939 film we just talked about, The Wizard of Oz, solidified the green-skinned witch with a pointed hat as the definitive image of visual image in American pop culture as witches. You also have films like The Blair Witch Project in 1999. Did you watch The Blair Witch Project?
I did. It was pretty scary, and it was it kind of changed. I think it changed filmmaking for a while. It was like, I'd never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it brought out the whole found footage genre. It was like that movie freaked me out.
Yeah.
For
really?
A long time.
Did you see it in theaters or no?
Yes, I did see it in theaters, and I remember coming home, and I looked at my girlfriend at the time, and I'm like, we're gonna stay at your house tonight. I'm definitely not staying alone.
Oh yeah, that's a sign of a great movie where you're a little spooked out at home, but you get back to your car and you look in the back seat.
I also lived in a haunted house.
You lived in a haunted house?
I lived in a haunted house at the time.
Whoa.
Yeah, for real. Everything about that place is creepy. It's on lists of the most haunted places in America. Oh. I'll tell you about it later. I'll tell you maybe when we talk about haunted houses at some point.
Okay.
So you have the Blair Witch Project in 1999. You had other movies like The Witch in 2015, which explored historical fears of witchcraft with stark realism. Did you watch Witch?
I don't think I saw that one. No, I think I missed that.
It was really good. A lot of people liked it, and I heard that there was a witch historian who said that it was one of the most accurate descriptions of like historically what witches and people accused of witchcraft had to go through.
I think being a witch is so broad because it's like, okay, there's magic, there's a magical element, and there's like a spell element, but like, you know what magic is also? It's manifesting. So, if you're manifesting.
Are you dating that girl who's got
been
stones
manifesting
again and gems? That girl again?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't in this day and age? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's such a broad term, which is such a broad term because of how wide ranging magic is.
We also had, like we talked about earlier, the TV show Bewitched from 1964 that tried to soften the image of witches, presenting them as living among normal human beings in suburbia. Later shows like Charmed that ran from 1998 until 2006.
Wow.
Showed witches as just normal women who they were in a family and fighting demons.
Were they like shy about showing off their witchcraftiness or
on the show?
Yeah, or like did they have to keep it secret? Like, hey, we're witches, we have to keep this a secret.
I think they did kind of keep it secret, but they weren't against blasting demons and things like that. That happened.
Yeah, sometimes you got to blast.
Sometimes you got to blast a demon. Yeah. You had shows like American Horror Story, Coven from 2013 that reimagined witches as the protagonists or just complex figures of power. In children's television, witches are commonly figures in cartoons, often depicted as archetypal hat and cloak wearing, like green skinned, funny nose, bent nose, hunchback, that kind of thing. In music, witches appear in operas like Dido and Aeneas. Aeneas. I don't think Aeneas is a thing. I think Aeneas is a Pornhub category.
Aeneas, it is.
You have popular music. In popular music, witches have inspired everything from folk songs about sorcery to heavy metal, rock bands embracing the imagery and dark power. In video games, witches appear as common enemies, bosses, or playable characters, which is everything. That describes everything, enemies, bosses, and playable characters. In countless games like the Legend of Zelda series, to Bayonetta, where witches are reimagined as powerful protagonists. And the archetype of the witch with the hat, the broom, and is a familiar shorthand for supernatural magic users in fantasy role-playing games such as Dungeons and Dragons or the Elder Scrolls. Today, witches are both feared and celebrated. They remain powerful figures in pagan and Wiccan traditions while simultaneously serving as popular figures in media and Halloween imagery.
Yeah. A real anti-hero. Right? Like,
I guess so. I mean, it depends on what your stance is on witches. Are they just are they harbingers of evil? Are they the devil's like mistresses, or are they just like misunderstood women who have thoughts of their own and power, and God forbid they have opinions? I think that's a lot like you asked what the deal was with why they were prosecuting witches. I think it was an easy way of people of that time. I don't even want to say men of that time, but people of that time to go, hey, there's this woman who she's not conforming to the expected norms of society. She's not staying at home. She's not raising children. She's, she lives by herself off in the woods or whatever. And they would go, that person's a witch. Because it's easier to prosecute and persecute those people than to go, oh, she just has opinions and thoughts of her own, and she's got a mind of her own. So I think that is how a lot of that came about.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So the pointed hat, the broom, and the black cat are now universal symbols, instantly evoking centuries of lore and belief. So with that episode about witches ends our first month of Cryptids and Comedians. And I know this month there weren't a lot of cryptids other than like the first 4 episodes. But again, it's spooky season. I thought that cryptids could be lumped in with that category of like spooky, bump in the night kind of things. And it's with Halloween, the Halloween season, I thought it would be fun to start off with these topics. And then next month, oh boy, I have cryptid things planned for sure for next month. Yeah. So, Peter, what do you think about witches?
I just think the term is so broad as it's described that like there's no like test. Like if you say you are, then you are.
But there were tests. There were tests.
Like, yeah, if you like floated, right? Then they do this thing where like, oh, if a woman floats and she's a witch.
How did the float test work? I think the idea was if they dunked you in some water and you weren't a witch and you floated, there was like some divine intervention, and that God wouldn't punish an innocent person. So if you sunk, you're a witch. I could be wrong. Probably gonna be wrong. People are gonna at me.
Yeah, I just think that the term is expanded, and also like, if I'm still questioning what came first, was it the style or was it the label of witch? Like, oh, we know witches to look today, like that Wicked Witch, the West from The Wizard of Oz. Like, did that come after or before? Like the witchiness.
Oh, it definitely came after.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't until like literature started portraying them like with the hat and everything that became like iconic, at least in Western culture. Because in European culture, witches are just old women, basically.
Sure, yeah.
Haggard women that like live by themselves, away from society, whatever. So that's
so
this image that you have in your head of this green-skinned woman with a black hat and black clothing, that's all Western literature and pop culture that brought that.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, witches exist.
Do you think witches exist? Do you think witches exist in the way that people who study and practice the exploration of nature and being one with nature, like those people would consider themselves witches because they want to be one with the world and nature? Or do you think witches like potions, double boil and trouble, all that? Do you think that is real, or something in between?
No, I just think the term is just so broad now that like, yeah, you could be a witch, whatever. That's your personality,
Okay.
You
think it's more of a personality trait than...
Yeah, you go on TikTok and you're like, oh, okay, I've been diagnosed as ADHD witch. That's just 2025 for you.
All right. Well, that ends this month's spooky season 2025. The first, I think this is 8 episodes of Cryptids Comedians. Next month we start talking about, we go back to talking about cryptids. And I have some special cryptids planned for November.
Oh,
into the rest of the year. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening on your favorite podcatcher. Remember, leave us a 5-star rating and tell your friends. Peter, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Ooh, go to petermurphythecomedian.com and Instagram, Peter_Murphy.
Okay. I am @_Thom Tran, THOMTRAN. The show is @Cryptids and Comedians. New episodes every Wednesday. Thank you for watching the show on YouTube. Remember to like, subscribe, tell your friends. And if you're listening on your favorite podcaster, subscribe and share it with your friends. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Cryptids and Comedians.
Yeah, see you then.